So this season has been so phenomenal, and you have, actually by the time this airs, people will have seen your flashback, which I hear is pretty phenomenal, and we find out that you and Cassidy, is that her name?
Yes.
Knew each other in the past life.
Yes, that's right, we did. We met under completely random circumstances, and I have no idea that she knows Sawyer. And at that point, I don't know who Sawyer is, so we have this interaction that's very, very brief for a couple days back in, I don't know, I think it's Iowa. And then it coincidentally turns out that however many years later, I end up on a deserted island with her ex-lover and the father of her child.
There are a lot of interesting coincidences like that.
I love that stuff. That's probably one of my favorite parts of the show, is when random people or people we know from the island show up in other people's flashbacks.
And you know what everybody wants to know about, right? What's the number one question that people ask you about the show?
The number one question people ask me is Jack or Sawyer.
That is the question.
Okay,
that is the question.
That's the question. Wow.
And a lovely Cupid doll for the lady.
I don't decide those things. I just play them out. So I am at the mercy of the writers as much as the audience is, and I just have to keep rolling with the punches. So far, they haven't thrown me any curveballs. It's pretty much been what I expected, but you never know.
Now, are you aware of how deeply the fans feel about this? Because there are the skaters and the jaders.
I know, my goodness.
And the skaters and the jaders don't get along.
They don't get along.
Because they're hardcore.
I was on a website one time trying to sort of backlog and track the progress of both of those relationships for my characters,
really?
You know, to figure out where she should be at and my motivation and my emotional sort of ties and attachment to each one of them. And I found this blog that was saying, what's happened is Evangeline a skater or a jader because she used to be a jader and now she seems to be a skater, and then she was a skater and a jader, and it was like I couldn't follow, but they were saying that Matthew was neither, and it was a whole other world. It was like the skate-jate world that I didn't even know.
Do you want to clear it up right now and tell the fans, are you a skater or a jader?
I ride the fence, folks.
I think you're a cater.
I am a cater. I'm a cater. I like that. I'm all about Kate. And who she ends up with, I don't care.
I kind of don't either. And I actually feel like they're going to be on the island for a while. There's plenty of time.
There's enough men to go around.
Yes. I mean, take your time.
I couldn't agree with you more. The women are fickle.
Right.
And in a generation where people change jobs, you know, with their socks, why stick with one man for an entire lifetime on an island?
So what can you tell us about what's coming up that we haven't seen yet? We're kind of getting close to the finale, right? A few episodes out.
We are. We're filming the episode that is 2 away from the finale. And of course, as usual, the finale is going to be a 2-hour special. And it's really good. I mean, I've only heard rumors about the outline and what's going to be happening in the finale, but it's going to be a really good one. As usual, a cliffhanger.
Right.
And but a cliffhanger that also answers some questions, as usual.
You should win an Emmy for that flashback episode. That was unbelievable. Those hospital scenes were just, I mean, I don't cry easily watching television.
It was really emotional,
and
John Terry is amazing. It was so much fun working with him, and it was very, very. I mean, this is one thing I was doing with my mum when she's in a coma, and this whole thing, I'm crying, and she starts crying when she's in a coma. I'm like,
I don't think that works.
Mom, you're okay then?
She's alive. She's crying.
It was really sweet, though. We were so sad.
How was it getting all gothed up?
It was awesome. I'm tempted to dye my hair, but then everyone's like, "Oh, you'll never get it back unless you dye it back." So, but no, it was fun. It was just, it's always fun playing around with a different look and a different character. And
from Lost Lover. So there have been a lot of hints that there's going to be a possible love triangle between Desmond, Claire, and Charlie. Is that possible? Love triangle, Desmond, Claire, Charlie?
What is not possible on this island? Seriously.
True.
What is not possible? And at this stage, I'm so confused by this whole show right now. Yeah, I mean, of course it's possible. I don't really know, that hasn't really been explored too much yet, but there's definite, I think they've definitely brought us together in some kind of interesting way so far. Yeah.
And
Charlie and I seem to always be... He always seems to do something that betrays me or that I don't trust him for, that sort of prevents us from getting to that next level, which is always interesting.
Right. And we've sort of left the baby storyline for a little bit, but I hear that's coming back in some way, that we'll learn more about the baby.
You do learn, and you learn more about my pregnancy and more of when I was taken to the hatch when I was pregnant, even more to do with what was done to me when I was there.
Right.
That's really interesting, actually. Sort of, answers some questions, and then, of course, 20 more questions evolve from that. In true Lost tradition.
Well,
you're like, yes, an answer. Oh, but what does that and that mean?
Right. Well, it's nice to hear that you're just as confused as some of the viewers are. Yeah.
Yeah, probably more so. Probably.
And how is it shooting the scenes with the baby? You've had more than one baby,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Because